Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Newsgram. Today we ask the question, who is Eleanor Riley?
I was born on the island of Jamaica, West Indies. I migrated to the United States 1970. From the time I came to the United States with my experience, which was a little bit different, much different from Jamaica, I said, I need to say something in a book.
She was born in Petersville in Westmoreland, Jamaica, to be exact, and things are different there. In her book, Rungs On My Ladder, she says in her culture, it's a common practice for babies to be registered not by their biological parents, but by a neighbor or a distant family member who likely were just visiting at the time of the birth. She says this is what happened at the time of her birth, and she later had to correct an error made in the registering of her birth date. And that's just one of the fun stories that she shares in her book.
You know, a lot of people may not think that I have what to say, but everybody have a book in them. So I was propelled to write.
I've been saying that for years. Just can't seem to get around to writing my own memoir. But Eleanor's life and subsequent book are filled with compelling autobiographical scenes. She calls them rungs. Each
rung is like each step that you take in life. Each day that you live, each hour that you live, you keep going by climbing a ladder. And the different experiences that I have while climbing the ladder. Maybe I could see where I came from, and I could maybe get a little bit of vision as to where I'm going. I'm kind of seeing things ahead of me and seeing things that I've left behind.
Some of those rungs include getting the strength needed to give birth, or managing medications, and the eventual loss of a kidney, or the time she was called to be the first lady of her church.
I got the title as First Lady because my husband is the pastor for the church. I took on the title, or it was given to me, so I didn't refuse. I just go along with it as First Lady of the church, which comes with a big responsibility. To be the First Lady of the church, there's a lot of things that I have to set and standards that I have to set, and I have to keep those standards. I have to be examples for the other ladies of the church. It doesn't matter what age they are. I have to be an example. And the life that I live, have to be an exemplary one, whether in the church or outside of the church.
And one of those standards is sharing the gospel.
If we lift Jesus up in exalting him, in telling others about him, because the scriptures also said, go into all the world and preach the gospel, telling everybody about Jesus. If we lift him up that way, he will draw others to him. All men, that's the scripture, unto him. And I always remember that scripture. Lift Jesus up. I've heard many times in different sermons, if we lift up Jesus, we can't be too far off. We're lifting him up, we have to be right there. So I always say, let me lift Jesus up, because I'm right behind him. I'm right following him. And if I lift him up, I lift myself up, and I will lift others up. So I love that scripture.
Eleanor believes that in every human being there is a void that can only be filled by God. And in her book, she quotes many scriptures to illustrate that point. Her overall message is one of hope, determination, and faith. So as you can see, it's more than just a memoir. She does a nice job of weaving a tapestry of stories from her life, the ups and downs, and the scriptures that help add to those stories. They all intermingle to create the experiences that she shares in the book. And in the end, she says it was all worth it.
The many things that I have seen, the many experiences that I've had, sometimes I feel like it's not worth going any further. Sometimes I feel like I could throw in the towel. But when I think of all the rewards that I have gotten from the inception of my life, from the inception of the church, it was worth it. The different experiences, the different roads that I have traveled, the different encounters, I have not regretted any of it. I thank God for the experiences that I've had. And the experiences that I've had taught me how to deal with others and how to deal with circumstances and situations. And I'm able to mentor others because I've been down that road before.
Our life experiences make us who we are. It's those experiences that mold us. And whenever you get a chance to pass on what you've learned, you're being of service to others. For Eleanor, that's what gets her up in the morning. When you can learn from those that have already done it, then I think we're all better for it. Eleanor points out a few ditches to avoid in her book and the sweet reward of gratification that comes from being helpful.
I'm able to tell someone that, hey, there is a ditch down the road. When you get there, don't go to the left because there's a ditch there. The reward of all of that, what I've been through from chapter 1 coming on down, or from the beginning of my life coming on down, it culminates into that sweet reward. I'm happy. I'm hilarious. I'm glad that I've experienced it, even though at the time when I'm going through, it may not have looked like I would have enjoyed it. But in the end, thank God, because it taught me, and the experiences that I have, I could pass it on to my children, and they could pass it on to their children's children, and so on. And my reward, that's what I think every day that I'm working towards, getting my reward in the end. I want to hear, well done, thou good and faithful servant. I want to hear that. I want to hear, enter into the joy that I, God, have prepared for you.
So who is Eleanor Riley? She's definitely someone you should know. And you can see from her reviews on Amazon that she's doing a pretty good job. Rungs On My Ladder by Eleanor Riley. It's available now wherever you like to buy books, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all the usual places. And there are links in the show's notes if you want to learn more about her or download a copy of the book. And that will do it for this rather uplifting edition of Newsgram from webtalkradio.com.